Maroon TV, and I'm here with Jason Bern, the founder of Ping. First, I want to get this interview started with your elevator pitch.
You got it. So thank you, Isabella. And Ping is a service that allows our customers on our iPhone app to discover our vendors on our website the moment they're both 5 blocks apart from each other. So I'll get started straight with an example right here. Right here is Charlie. He's a customer, and he's just bumming around Hyde Park at, say, 6 p.m. one day. And he's getting pretty hungry, right? So as he crosses the street at one point, he gets a ping or a push notification about a deal, which tells him this: free gelato for every oven baked sandwich you buy at Cafe 53. So he clicks that, enters the app, and one screen does it all. It has an already highlighted route from his present location to Cafe 53, and all the other details he needs about that ping. Also, right at the bottom, it asks, was this ping relevant to you, upvote or downvote? And that's very crucial because that's how Ping in the background learns what kinds of things Charlie's going to want to see in the future. So instead of Charlie having to go over to the side and set all sorts of filters and preferences that you might see on competing sites such as Yelp, Foursquare, Belly, etc., you build your preferences as you go along. As you use the app, go on along, living, about your life just as you naturally would. And of course, our vendors have a way of reaching people that are already so close by, and with deals that are super current. So they're just getting this new kind of foot traffic to enter their store. So really we see it as a win-win. One group, our customers don't benefit at the expense of the vendors, and vice versa. Our vendors don't benefit at the expense of our customers. So that's something that we're really passionate about.
So a bit about the idea, like how did it form? Is this the original idea you came up with, and has it morphed?
Right. I wish I could say that I came up with this idea. Actually, my technical co-founder, Andoni Garcia, was the one who conceived it. He said he read an HN article about geolocation advertising, and him being a very tech-savvy individual, caught on with the idea, brought it to the startup boot camp in October, held here in the CIE called 3-Day Startup. And I had my own idea at the time, but I actually ended up enjoying his idea so much that I moved over to his. And we worked together, we brought on board some more people, and so far it's been great.
So have you always been interested in entrepreneurship, and what things have influenced your ideas? Have there been any big events going on that have really shaped this idea?
Okay, well, what do you mean by always?
I don't know, when did you first start getting interested in entrepreneurship?
Right, let's see. I know when I was 17 was the first time I started distinctly thinking about entrepreneurship. That's the first time I actually did anything related. I was selling this healthy fruit juice drink with my brother and a couple cousins, and that didn't turn out too well. After that, I came to the university, so I spent a year on that, and then I came to the university knowing that I wanted to do a startup because I thought they were just amazing. And the first point of contact I had was Jerry Huang at U Chicago Careers in Entrepreneurship. And he led me on to more people such as Professor Robert Rosenberg at Booth. He's a professor of entrepreneurship, he's fabulous. And I started meeting more and more people, getting really engaged in the community. When this building opened up, it was the holy grail or Valhalla in my mind, and started meeting even more people, more conversations started getting fueled that way. I reached out to as many people as I could that were really just in a similar direction, really trying to actually push their startups forward. And I've been hooked ever since.
Okay, so going back to your idea of Ping,
Yeah.
what have been the biggest challenges you've faced so far? And have anything, sort of going off that, has anything been particularly easy that you didn't initially imagine it would?
Well, good news on the easy end. Convincing people to get on board has actually been incredibly easy. The vendors, particularly these food and retail establishments in Hyde Park, where we're starting, it's so simple for them to understand. As you can see from the screen, by the way, on this one side is what the website looks like for vendors. Just as one screen really tells it all for the app, right? One screen on the app has everything you need as a customer on our app. Similarly, our partnering vendors, they only need this one screen where everything is. They can add, manage, edit their pings there. They can keep track of some crucial metrics, just how well is this working for them, and that's it. It's so simple that, and it's so beneficial to them too. What's been difficult, I'll address that, of course. I would say what's difficult has been communication within the team, particularly with my co-founder Andoni studying abroad in Paris. I'll be in Barcelona next year, so there's some difficulty with that. But we've had enough time together, however, to cement a good enough culture to overcome that, ultimately. Challenges besides have, funnily, Apple has delayed our app from the App Store for just a couple weeks. They're very nitpicky about certain details, so they found a couple details inconsistent in our application, so that's just a technical issue. Other than that, though, we're very confident, very optimistic. We know what we had to offer is legit. So
going a bit back to the startup process, could you walk me through what it's like to start a startup at the University of Chicago?
Exciting. Definitely exciting. And at first, it can seem intimidating because this school doesn't only have a reputation, but a reality of being incredibly tough academically. At first, it seems like it's either impossible or incredibly difficult to balance those two things. And because we're new, UChicago is an emerging force in entrepreneurship among the great universities. At first, it can seem hard to find, especially developers, tech-savvy people who have a great portfolio on them. We were able to do that, fortunately, but we did have to work very hard for that. Absolutely. You will always find out here more hustlers of the sales type or whatever, of the business end, than you will people who can code in Swift for an iPhone app or Android development, etc.
Great. So what would you recommend to other University of Chicago students who are interested in getting into the startup field?
Determine whether you're at a place, both in terms of your qualifications and in terms of your passions, whether you're going to focus on applying for an already existing startup, and also be sure you're targeted on that. Do you want to work for a small startup of 5 to 20 people or so? Do you want to work for a medium-sized one? Do you want to work for a big daddy like Yelp or something like that, or Uber, right? What kind of startup do you want to work for, if that's your thing? Or if you want to start a startup, you have to get real and be 100% about it. But if you are going to start a startup too, of course, it doesn't mean like, hey, I have an idea, let me drop out of school now. It means get whoever you need on board your team first, get whatever resources and whatnot you need to get started, and then get started. Don't spend 5-6 months on the whiteboard. I would say that might have been a little bit of our mistakes, has been spending a little too much time on the whiteboards rather than out in the streets hustling. And you want to test this in reality, test this with real customers, real people, hopefully paying customers right off the get-go. See, does this stick? And if it does, then you go from there. You start working on it a little bit more part-time, and depending on how far it goes, when you get a serious investment, that's the time when you can pay yourself a salary, basically. When you get that level of investment, obviously that's when you drop out of school and you go pursue that.
Great. On behalf of Maroon TV, I want to thank you again, Jason.
Cool. Thanks, Isabella.